Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Florida.
Marlins Park, where the Mets and Marlins get ready to finish off a three-game series and a special day, not only in baseball. It's brought to you by Hyundai. It is Mother's Day. Major League Baseball celebrating Mother's Day throughout the major leagues. Special bases. Moms are here. Got the pink wristbands, the emblems. Hey, even moms are wearing pink. Some pink shoes, some pink bats. Mother's Day and baseball goes together, doesn't it? And we'll celebrate it with you here on Fox Sports Florida. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. Still, as we get to the final game of this three-game set, the Mets and the Marlins, a game apiece, two real hot teams. The Marlins have won 9 of their last 11. The Mets, winners yesterday, have won 6 of their last 7.
I tell you what, the Mets are on a roll. They're getting some great production from guys like David Wright, Lucas Duda, Daniel Murphy. If the Marlins can find a way to cool those guys off, they'll have a little better opportunity.
And what has fueled the Marlins' run, having won 9 of 11, is starting pitching. Carlos Zambrano has been terrific this year. His record should be better. He made sure there would be no blown save the last time out.
Yeah, he certainly did in Houston. How about a 3-hit shutout? Complete game for Carlos Zambrano. He didn't have to worry about the bullpen. The offense got him enough runs. And how about against the Mets in his career, 6-3 with a 3.34 ERA. Right now, Zambrano's ERA is 1.98. There are the numbers. He should be better, as Rich mentioned, than 1 and 2. But the ERA, the whip, all tremendous. Opponents batting just 203 against Zambrano.
The only question for Zambrano, when's he going to start hitting? He has just 1 hit so far this year. Jonathan Neese, the lefty, goes for the Mets in this one. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Sit back, enjoy some baseball as the Fish and the Mets finish off a 3-game series. When we get back, a very special Mother's Day hello to everyone, even Billy's mom. through the area. The roof is closed, windows closed, but baseball open on a Mother's Day. Let's go out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
All right, thank you very much, Rich. What rain? This is beautiful weather. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. It's a great day for all of us. Baseball and mom's a unique connection, too.
Yeah, it is. Major League Baseball with the Susan G. Komen Foundation started the pink days on Sunday, Mother's Day, back in the early 2000s, and it's been kind of a nice tradition ever since.
Raising a lot of money and awareness of breast cancer. Let's get the Marlins' thoughts on Mother's Day.
My mom helped me, today. I mean, she was tremendous when I was younger. She'd show up to all my games, Little League with my dad, and the main thing is she'd kill everyone with kindness, and she was real, down to earth and easygoing. And I think it, her attitude towards life, reflected on me.
I would say a lot of love, tough love at times, but she's a pusher and really kind of expects the best out of you or in whatever you're doing. So kind of always make you strive to do good.
Basically, she was just loving and supportive, and all the road trips that we had to make for baseball. My dad was the coach, so she was kind of always the team mom type, and always supportive, and just always there to talk to and stuff like that. So really appreciate her for that.
My mom took me not only to baseball practice, but hockey practice, soccer practice, basketball practice, endless amounts of school events, and if it wasn't for her, and my dad, but my mom was usually the one in charge with all that stuff. If it wasn't for her, obviously I wouldn't be here. So and most of my thanks have to go to her.
I'm sure you don't remember every homer in your career, but the one that certainly stands got to be the one you hit with a pink bat.
Yeah, I hit one with a pink bat during a Mother's Day game, and was able to sign that bat and give it to my mom afterwards. Got to hit one for Dad, too, on Father's Day one time, so I got both parents covered. It was very nice.
With the special bat, though, that's got to be neat, and got to give you a lot of confidence, too. The guys here, if they do well, they're gonna enjoy those.
Hey, I thought about taking it into the next day's game for sure. You don't want to mess with
karma
with a streak,
All right, Mother's Day here. Got baseball. What's at stake? It's trying to win a series. And that would be big for the Marlins. Trying to make it 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Jonathan Neese, Carlos Zambrano, the pitching matchup. Rich Waltz and Tommy Hutton with the call coming up next.
In Miami, Pinch a Penny bring you the first pitch as Carlos Zambrano faces Andres Torres, and a fastball is pulled foul. Zambrano is out in front quickly 0-2. Andres Torres, Kirk Neuenhuis, David Wright for the Mets. Zambrano's season numbers, and of course, he's had 3 ball games in which the back end of the bullpen blew the save. So the record just 1-2. But look at the sparkling ERA. Of course, 3-hit shutout his last time out against Houston. The 0-2 to Torres. Swing and a miss. Zambrano with a strikeout.
Well, I tell you what, Carlos Zambrano on a mission. He's working quickly. He's coming off that complete game shutout, as you mentioned. He couldn't wait to throw the first pitch today.
And this is the lineup that he's facing for the New York Mets. Winners yesterday. You saw Torres. Kirk Neuenhuis has had a nice series and a very nice rookie season. David Wright is the hottest hitter on the planet, except maybe Josh Hamilton. Lucas Duda in the cleanup spot. Daniel Murphy, Ronnie Cedeno, Jordany Valdespin, Rob Johnson, and Jonathan Neese in the 9 spot. And Neuenhuis running up to bunt, fouls it back. He's got the pink bat, the pink gloves. A lot of pink on there. All the players in Major League Baseball today given their choice of pink for just about every piece of equipment they wear outside of their uniform. Breaking ball, Neuenhuis in the air. Bonifacio is under it. He makes the catch. So a couple of outs. And before David Wright arrives, here's the Marlins defense.
And the defense doesn't have to worry about the rain that we saw coming about 30 minutes ago with Kearns, Bonifacio, Stanton. All right-handers or switch hitters in the lineup today. John Buck back behind the plate, handling Zambrano.
David Wright has made Marlins Park his personal playground these first 2 games. The Mets' first trip into the Marlins' new park. And Wright 7 for 11. Which has jumped his average over 400. He's at 402. He leads the major leagues at a 489 on base percentage clip. Zambrano catches a strike outside corner. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Such an impressive season for Wright, who obviously doesn't have the protection that he had 2-3 years ago with a Carlos Beltran or even a productive Jason Bay.
You know, he doesn't have that, Rich, but he was telling me that's not there, but the guys who have been hitting around him have been hitting well. The guys like Lucas Duda, Daniel Murphy at times, sometimes Neuenhuis.
And Neuenhuis in front of him. Here's the 2-1 pitch. One bat that's not in the lineup for the Mets that was a late scratch, Ike Davis. The flu has knocked Davis out of the lineup, and to compensate for that, Terry Collins has had to, boy, he doesn't look real good there.
It's also knocked their third base coach, Tim Tuffle.
Yeah. Bob Guerin is coaching third base for the Mets. Well, Carlos Zambrano just struck out David Wright, and that's how well Zambrano is going right now. A 1-2-3 first, 10 pitches for Big Z. Afternoon on a Mother's Day, Marlins and Mets. Marlins lineup, the Fish have won 9 of their last 11, split the first 2 with the Mets. Jose Reyes a 4-hit day yesterday. Omar Infante, 5th in the National League in slugging percentage. Hanley Ramirez in the 3 spot. Austin Kearns hits cleanup. Giancarlo Stanton hits 5th. Gabby Sanchez swung the bat well yesterday. Emilio Bonifacio's in center. John Buck, the catcher. And Big Z, Carlos Zambrano, hits 9th against Jonathan Neese.
Jonathan Neese having a very solid start to the year. He gives you a little bit of everything. Fastball will kind of sit, upper 80s, low 90s. Throw a curve, a slider, a cutter, use a changeup.
Marlins have faced him this year. Reyes leading off. Got Omar Infante and Hanley Ramirez right behind him. Reyes goes after a low fastball, pops it foul, and out of reach as Valdespin and Duda went after it.
I think it was nice, Rich, for Jose Reyes. After the series he had in New York, which didn't go the way he would have liked. His ball club lost all 3 games. He didn't perform that well. I think he's really enjoyed the way he has played personally in this series here.
Yeah, 5 for 9 for Reyes. Neese with a breaking ball that misses. Career against the Mets. Not a big sample size. Remember the 3 games in New York. The Mets swept those games. The Marlins blew 2 late leads in that series. Marlins actually blew a lead on Friday night, came from behind to win the ball game. And then yesterday, the Mets got an early lead and held it throughout. And Reyes is aboard with a leadoff walk.
Yeah, Reyes just 1 for 12 in that series. Let's look at the defense with Nieuwenhuis, Torres, and Duda in the outfield. David Wright, Ronnie Cedeno, Jordani Valdespin at second base. Daniel Murphy moves over to play first. And Rob Johnson spelling Mike Nickius, who had to handle a knuckleball for a good part of yesterday.
And he did a fine job of that, handling R.A. Dickey. Dickey got the win yesterday. That Dickey-Ricky matchup never really materialized because Ricky Nolasco, and you and I have seen almost every start that Nolasco has made in his Major League career. That's as wild as we've ever seen him.
Yeah, he just couldn't get in the zone in the first inning, walking 3 in the first inning. Couldn't make that adjustment to especially the left-handed hitters he faced.
Infante rips that one foul. Boy, everything he's hitting these days is hard. Infante, I told you his numbers, slugging percentage way up there with 10 doubles, 6 homers, and 2 triples. He's 5th behind Matt Kemp, Brian LaHare, the Cub guy that has come out of almost nowhere, Ryan Braun and Carlos Beltran, and then there's Infante in front of Jay Bruce. Neese goes over. Reyes 8 stolen bases. He's been caught 4 times. Johnson's a pretty good catch and throw guy. In fact, that's his strength, is his glove. Tried to frame that pitch from Neese, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 1-2.
The other thing about Neese, and we've seen it already, he'll use the fastball in and out, not afraid to come inside the right-handed hitters.
4 hits in the series for Infante. He had a base hit yesterday, and he rolls one to the left side. Wright gets an out there. Valdespin's turn is not in time. So Reyes erased. Infante aboard. Wright made a terrific play going to his right yesterday. His defense is much improved. Tim Tuffle, who is, we noted, is out with the flu, is the guy that has been credited with turning right around defensively this year. And here's Hanley Ramirez. Hanley, a 1-for-9 series. And Neese, quick slide step and a quick delivery. It's 0-1.
That's what kind of nullifies just a so-so move to first base. He'll give you that slide step. You and I were talking about Hanley Ramirez and the craziness of statistics compared to a hot hitter in David Wright.
Well, Hanley, an average that has been in the low 200s. He's dipped below 200 at times, and yet production-wise, he's driven in 22 runs, has 6 homers.
More home runs and more RBIs than Wright. So what do you take?
It's a great discussion. Just from an outside looking in, even though Nieuwenhuis has hit well and Duda has hit well, I think Wright has less to work with and probably has had fewer guys in spots to drive in, because Wright's batting average with runners in scoring position is 9th in the National League.
The sabermetrics guys will say Hanley Ramirez has just a 293 on base percentage, and rightfully so. So David Wright is giving more opportunities for those around him to drive him in. His on base percentage 489.
And that's one of the impressive things that Terry Collins has said about Wright this year, is that he's not forcing the issue. He's not going out of the zone. He's not trying to do too much. One and two. Jonathan Nice working against Hanley Ramirez. Just underway here in Miami. Mets and Marlins. It almost looks like with that quick delivery, Nice is surprising Hanley Ramirez with that leg kick. Hanley's not getting that foot down in time, and he's been late on those fastballs.
Well, a lot of pitchers, that's what they try to do to Hanley. They try to work hard stuff in and get that timing off so he can't get to that pitch.
Now the breaking ball is fouled at the plate, and it's 1-2. Hyundai bringing you Fox Tracks. See how Nice has worked him.
Jonathan Nice out of the same high school in Defiance, Ohio as Chad Billingsley, a right-hander with the Dodgers.
Hanley again fouling it back. The Pittsburgh Pirates arrive tomorrow night. Just a brief 2-game series. 7 o'clock starts for the Pirates and the Marlins. Brad Lincoln, a right-hander who is 2-0 with an 0.63 ERA, goes for the Pirates. And Anibal Sanchez for the Fish. That opens the series. Hanley takes up and in. Josh Johnson, Kevin Correa finishes the series. Then it's right back out on the road for the Marlins. 2 in Atlanta and 3 in Cleveland.
Little interleague play.
When Tommy gets off the plane, he will yell, "Hello, Cleveland." Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball, little tapper, slowly hit. Cedeno charging, throwing, and just getting Hanley Ramirez. Infante is in scoring position. Here's another look.
It's a good play by Ronnie Cedeno. For a minute, he almost thought Hanley was going to beat this out, but a good transition, strong throw, just does get him, and he made Nice work. Hanley did. 9-pitch at bat.
Forget that Cedeno was the opening day shortstop and the regular shortstop in Pittsburgh the last couple of seasons. Ruben Tejada is still out. The Mets are still a banged-up unit with Jason Bay, Tejada, Mike Pelfrey out for the season. Here now is Kearns, and he takes the strike. Kearns, a last-minute replacement for a sore-kneed Logan Morrison on Friday night, and it paid off. He had a 2-run homer against Johan Santana and helped stake the Marlins to a 3-0 lead. Nice bounces one, and Infante read it well, and a good jump. He's at third.
We've seen early in the year a couple of miscues by Infante on the bases, but generally pretty good base runner and good instincts there to pick up this ball, not only once it got in the dirt, but to see in which direction it squirted away from Johnson.
Kearns leaned out over the plate and watched that one outside. It's 2-1.
Talking about Lomo, he did bounce back, had a couple of hits yesterday.
Looked good at the plate. Kern's getting the start against the lefty. Neese misses in. You've got Giancarlo Stanton waiting on deck, which you think would mean Kearns is going to get a pretty good pitch to hit here.
You would think. Well, right now you have to look fastball. You might not get it, but that's what you need to look for. There it was. Ooh, borderline.
It was right on the black, and it was up, but it was a strike. The true center look really gives you a great look when it comes to outside corner, inside corner. Let's see what he gets. 3-2. Breaking ball, and he struck him out. Infante left at third. The Marlins still struggling. Last in baseball with runners in scoring position. And it's brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Marlins Park, Coventry Healthcare second inning. And Carlos Zambrano, a very brief 10-pitch first inning. He struck out Andres Torres and David Wright. Lucas Duda, Daniel Murphy, Ronnie Cedeno. Zambrano misses away to Duda, who has 5 hits in this series, including a double. The Mets do a lot of little things very well. They run the bases well, and that's impressive because Terry Collins has a young bunch down there.
I think a lot of that's a reflection on Terry Collins, the job he's done. The other thing, though, when your 3, 4, and 5 hitters go 10 for 16, you're going to win most games. And that's what happened yesterday.
Yes, it did. A 9-3 win over the Fish. Collins, a Jim Leland disciple. So he has a connection to Marlin history. And Leland, of course, the skipper of the first World Championship team. Collins managed in the Dodgers organization. And in his 2 stops in the big leagues before here, he was a successful manager. He just was never able to win the division. He had 5 second-place finishes in 6 years, 3 each in Houston and in Anaheim. 3-2 coming. Duda fouled it back. You know, the other thing the Mets do, Tommy, they get deep in counts, and they have the second best on base percentage in the National League.
And you're talking about some fairly young hitters like a Duda, like Nieuwenhuis, like Daniel Murphy.
3-2 coming. It's in the air. Kearns is over towards the line, and Austin makes the catch. The next Outback Steakhouse Military Monday is tomorrow. Marlins and Pirates at 7:10. What is a Military Monday? Well, military employees, active duty, reserve, National Guard, veterans, and their dependents get free tickets with each military ID at the Marlins Park box office on the day of the game. So, if you're a military employee, active duty, reserve, National Guard, veteran, come on with your military ID to the Marlins Park box office on the day of the game. You can call 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com for more details on the Outback Steakhouse Military Monday, which is tomorrow night. Daniel Murphy, and Murphy, like many of the Mets, hot right now. His average has been up over 300 most of the season. Zambrano misses in, and it's 3-1.
Good fastball today from Zambrano. And I think also to kind of counter a lot of the left-hand bats he'll face, he's going to need that good split change that he uses.
Randy St. Clair, Marlins pitching coach, has to be very happy with the rotation. Josh Johnson, everyone hopes, is back on track after his 7-inning performance in Houston. Zambrano misses. Murphy walks. And Zambrano in his 6 starts has an ERA of under 2. Anibal Sanchez has been terrific for the Fish. Sanchez ERA is 2.01. Ricky Nolasco is 4-1, and of course yesterday his first lemon of the year. Mark Burley, an ERA of 2.81 in 7 starts. Zambrano misses away to Cedeno.
Yeah, for 32, 33 starts during the year, you're going to have a lemon or two. JJ next goes Tuesday night against Pittsburgh.
Against Kevin Correa. Cedeno fouls it back to the screen. Zambrano, his body shape has changed. The workout regimen that he implemented in the offseason, not that he's dropped a lot of weight, but he's redistributed a lot of weight. And his demeanor on the mound seems to have changed as well. If you ask anybody that's been around him this year, his attitude has been extremely positive. Most Marlin fans know the story of Heath Bell after blowing for the 3rd time a Zambrano win, approaching Zambrano, and Zambrano said, "Hey, you don't need to apologize. We won the game. Don't worry about it. Just get straightened out and we'll go from there." 2-1. Ground ball. Reyes. Infante. Nice pick by Gabby Sanchez on the back end. And Zambrano rolls a double play. And the Marlins finish the Mets in the top of the 2nd.
Sentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Carlos Zambrano has faced the minimum in his 2 innings of work. Jonathan Neese back to work. He gets Giancarlo Stanton, Gabby Sanchez, and Emilio Bonifacio in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Neese with his new nose throws a strike to Giancarlo Stanton.
And a new contract.
And a new contract. A nice 5-year extension. Mets locking up a young, promising pitcher. Off the end of the bat, Stanton dumps one into center field. That's a base hit.
You'd like to see Giancarlo stay back on breaking pitches like that, even though he hit it on a little bit on the end of the bat. But that shows you he's picking up the ball well. There's that slow breaking ball, but he stays back. He's strong enough that he can still hit a ball like this pretty well.
So Stan is aboard, and here is Gabby Sanchez. And the task for Gabby Sanchez is to keep doing what he did yesterday, when he was spraying line drives all over the ballpark. He had an RBI single, a double, and maybe the best ball he hit was a line drive out to left center field that was caught by the speedy Andres Torres. Here's the 1-0. It misses out. To finish the Neese's nose story, when he arrived with the Mets as a youngster, Carlos Beltran, a veteran with an enormous contract, said, "You got to get that nose fixed." And Neese said, "Well, you know, it's expensive stuff." Beltran said, "Look, I'll fix it. I'll pay for it. Just go fix it.
I'll pay for the rhinoplasty."
Yes. And Neese finally took him up on it this offseason, had the surgery. It was, I think, around $10,000 was the final bill. The nose straightened out. Beltran, as a Cardinal, saw him in spring training, looked at it, approved, and wrote him a check. Here's the 2-1. Ground ball. Cedeno out there, and the relay not in time there. So Neese gets a ground ball from Gabby Sanchez.
And Rich, all is well for Carlos Beltran, too. He's off to a pretty good start. I think if not for Josh Hamilton and all the home runs, you might be hearing a little bit more about Beltran, but he has 12 already this year.
Yeah, he's tied with Matt Kemp for the National League lead. And with 31 RBIs, he's just one behind Kemp's teammate, Andre Ethier, at 32. How about that pair? How about Ethier and Kemp in the Dodgers outfield right now? Kemp's driven in 27, Ethier 32. Here's Bonifacio. And Emilio takes a strike. An 0 for 3 yesterday for Bonifacio after a couple of hits on Friday night. This, of course, the side of the plate where Bonifacio has struggled.
Against the left-hander, we'll check out the scouting report on Jonathan Neese. Cuts and sinks that fastball. Big curve. We've seen that. It's a pitch that Stanton hit. And he can be a little sneaky with his fastball and all that. Even the sneakiness, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare.
Todd Tichenor is the voice you hear after every pitch. He's the home plate umpire. Larry Vanover, Brian Gorman, Tony Randazzo on this Major League umpiring crew, and they as well are adorned with the Mother's Day gear. Solid shot into right field. Bonifacio with a base hit, and that has to feel good for Bonnie against a lefty. That's going to bring John Buck up with runners first and second and one out.
Yeah, we've brought this up a number of times, and if Bonifacio stays back just like that against the rest of the lefties he sees this year, he'll be just fine, because last year he hit .333 against lefties, and by doing that, by having swings just like that.
The dynamics of the bottom of the order change with a Carlos Zambrano start. Zambrano on deck, one of the best hitting pitchers in the business, and John Buck at the plate. There's a look at Zambrano. 0-1. With runners in scoring position, the Marlins are dead last in all of baseball. And that is something that the Mets have done quite well this year. The Mets are hitting .321.
Here's how you try to figure that out. All is good and well with the Mets right now. Odds tell you they're not going to hit .321 for the year with runners in scoring position. So sooner or later, they're going to run into one of those stretches. And you would like to think, on the other hand, odds tell you that the Marlins aren't going to hit in the 190s all year with runners in scoring position.
Gabby Sanchez at second. Emilio Bonifacio at first. Buck takes away.
There's a fastball with some sink, and what Nice was trying to do, two-seam it away to try to get John Buck to hit that double play grounder.
One thing that Buck has done pretty well this year, he's taken some walks, 14 walks. And he's run the count now to 3-2, though Buck has struck out 22 times. Got a full count here with one out. And an opportunity early against John Nice. That's in. Nicely done by John Buck. Nice was in front of Buck and then nibbled and never could get back to the plate. And he and Johnson discuss the next hitter, Carlos Zambrano.
And Johnson may be saying something like, all right, I know we talked about this guy in the meeting when we went over the hitters. This guy's a pretty good hitting pitcher. And by the way, he has 23 career home runs.
Bags loaded. And Zambrano waiting. And he takes a mean rip at the first pitch. And that's his calling card as a hitter. He swings, and he swings hard.
He's not going to draw the walk. He's not up there to draw the bases on ball.
23 homers in his big league career. 10 walks in his big league career. In about 670 at bats, 10 walks. That's incredible. Yep. Good speed out at second with Bonifacio, and then Buck at first. Gabby Sanchez at third. Zambrano has nearly come unglued his first two swings, and he swings and misses at that one. Zambrano strikes out. Nice now just has to get Reyes to get out of the inning. This copyrighted telecast, presented by the authority, the Miami Marlins, may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. And here comes Jose Reyes now with the bases loaded and 2 outs against his old ball club. And Nice, a high fastball that misses outside.
Mets had a play on at first base. They were going to try to pick off John Buck, the runner. Murphy sneaking in behind him, but a little mishandled by Johnson, the catcher.
Nice, first time through the order. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 hits. Reyes drew a walk back in the first. Reyes is not an easy guy to strike out, by no means. He didn't like that call.
Yeah, a little shake of the head. It's a big curveball. Now, it may have gotten over the front of the plate as a strike. By the time it was caught, it was a ball. But that's the one thing that I think Fox Tracks does a great job. It shows you when it crosses the plate.
And that's where the strike zone is. for umpires. That's where they're supposed to judge the ball, is where does it come across the front of the plate. And obviously most hitters are in the back of the box, so it can't be the easiest of things for the men in black. The 1-2. And Reyes, an emergency swing. I think that quick delivery by Nice, which caught Hanley by surprise a lot his first at bat. I think it caught Reyes by surprise there.
Yeah, and what he did too, he threw a fastball with that quick delivery.
Breaking ball, and he popped it up. Valdespin out of the outfield grass makes the catch. And the Marlins still searching for a hit for the runner in scoring position. By Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. Moving around this ballpark is nice and easy. The big concourses. I love the starting lineups they put on the pillars right around behind home plate with a banner of each player that's in that starting lineup.
You see, Rich, that's the difference in you and I. You're looking at the pillars with the starting lineups, and I'm looking for the food.
That is true. That is true. Jordani Valdespin, Rob Johnson, and Jonathan Nice. Bottom third of the order for the Mets as Carlos Zambrano looks for win number 2. Valdespin got his first big league hit in a pinch, in a big spot, in Philly. It was a 3-run homer against Jonathan Papelbon.
Yeah, so far in 11 at-bats, his only major league hit.
And of course, he's in. Swing and a miss because of a flu bug that knocked Ike Davis out, pushed Daniel Murphy to first, and Valdespin was put at second base.
Yeah, the initial Met lineup today had Davis at first and Murphy at second, but about 30 minutes before the game, Derek Collins made the switch. A lot of number 1 moms at the ballpark. They all should be number 1 moms.
Zambrano has now gone 18 1/3 innings without giving up a run. A complete game his last time out. He went 7 scoreless in his start previous to that. And he works here in the third with Rob Johnson up and 1 out, nobody aboard. You could just see his demeanor, the smile. There's a bounce in his step.
The stuff is there, the 2-seamers, the slider, the split. He has gotten himself, you hear us talk about hitters that are in a groove. He's gotten himself in that groove as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher.
You'll remember at the start of the season, and the Marlins still have the mannequin that is dressed with the uniform of the day in the clubhouse, and there were whispers that maybe it might be a good idea to put that mannequin away after the game started on a Zambrano start, just in case things didn't go well. And so far the mannequin has been just fine, although he's received a few mustaches and bling and jewelry.
Yeah, the mannequin had a real weak mustache. It was not a Kevin Madison mustache.
It was more Clay Zavada.
It was not that kind of mustache.
He's got the ends waxed and all. There's a liner into center by Rob Johnson, and he's got a base hit. And that's the first hit that Zambrano has issued. Neese comes up. We'll see if he's trying to push Johnson to second with Andres Torres on deck. Busy day, as always, on a Sunday in Major League Baseball. On a Mother's Day, players throughout wearing the pink accoutrements, so to speak. Nice job by Hanley. As the ball came Hanley's way, he let it go foul.
That's an interesting decision, and obviously you have to make it fast. If he catches this ball, he certainly gets Neese at first base, but his first thought was to try to get the force at second. And he thought, I'm not going to do that. I'll put a little more pressure on Neese and make him drop down a bunt. A decision as a shortstop that he never had to make.
Ozzie Guillen said it about 5 days ago that he was completely surprised at how well Hanley has played third base this year. His fielding percentage has been in the top 3 among third basemen from the get-go. He's starting to make the instinct type plays like that, like he's been playing there for a long time. There you go, as evidenced by the work of our crack staff quickly finding that.
On that last pitch, by the way, it looked like Neese brought his bat back to maybe take a swing, so you have to be careful here.
Neese does have a base hit in 10 at-bats this year. He squares, and he stays there, drops it down. Buck charges out, has it, throws to first. Hanley has to retreat to third base. And so Neese pushes Johnson to second. It's nicely done by the Mets. Here comes Torres.
Yeah, that's just a nice job. Very well done by Jonathan Neese. Perfect bunt on the end of the bat. Kind of in between, but John Bucks takes charge there and makes a play. You maybe could have seen Hanley come in, but Buck took charge and put it away. As soon as he did that, Hanley retreated to third base.
Marlins got caught yesterday in an odd play with nobody at third base. On a play in which Hanley had to cut across the infield to make a play. There's a strike. It was a heads-up play by Lucas Duda to race from second to third. He and Reyes were stride for stride on that play. Torres getting back into the Mets lineup. It's been a nice jolt for the Mets. They've won 6 of their last 7, and Torres has been part of that. The calf injury kept him out, and this is what the Mets had hoped for from Torres. Buck goes out to talk to Zambrano. They wanted someone who could play center with gap-to-gap speed and someone at the top of the lineup that could steal bases.
And I think they liked his center field defense better than Pagan's.
Pagan's defense over the last couple of seasons had deteriorated.
Of course, their blueprint was to have Jason Bay in left, Torres in center, and Duda in right.
Ground ball, Gabby to his right. Here comes Zambrano. He's there in time to get the out. Torres hit it well. Nice play by Gabby Sanchez. Still scoreless, Miami and New York.
My mom and my wife, and to all the other moms out there, thank you for all y'all do. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Scoreless bottom of the third. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, as you can see here on this sign, Gail West, honorary Batgirl. Gail's granddaughter, Haley, holding the sign. She was one of the 30 winners Major League Baseball selected, the people who have dealt with breast cancer, but not only dealt with it, but also have helped raise awareness, help raise funds. You lost your mother to this tragic disease back in the 80s. You were diagnosed yourself in 01 and doing great ever since, though.
Yes, 10 years, cancer-free.
Good for you.
Celebrated last year.
Before the game, you got a little celebration. What happened?
I had a great celebration. It was awesome. Logan Morrison took me out on the mound. It was awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. He gave me this bracelet. I'm never going to take it off.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Deep shot there off the bat of Infante, caught at the wall. The excitement for you today to be out on the field. You're wearing this jersey with such pride. It says Batgirl on the back, as you can see. Batgirl. How much pride do you have?
Pardon me?
How much pride do you have?
Oh, I'm just like over the moon. Like I wrote in my story, I am just over the moon, excited. This has been my third. I tried out 3 times for this, and third time's the charm. I'm here in the new stadium, celebrating.
How did you find out that you won? Did they call you?
They called me.
When was that?
They called me several weeks ago, and well, I got an email, and I had to do all this stuff first, and then they called me last Monday, and told me that I was the winner. They called me from New York, Major League Baseball. So they called me from New York, and they told me that I was the winner, and that my day was today.
Good for you. All right, let's.
Go ahead. I want to do a shout out to my grandson Corey. He couldn't be here with us today because he's homesick. So Corey, I love you. I hope you're watching. I know you're watching. I love you. Wish you were here.
And that's from, just in case you were wondering, did we get it right? The letters from Gail. These are good fans too, and you're raising great money and awareness for breast cancer. We thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Gail West from here in South Florida, the Major League Baseball winner here in our area. Guys?
Craig, thank you. Good stuff. Hanley Ramirez breaks his bat, and the ball flies down the third base line. It's a foul ball.
Great stuff, Rich. I know every time we go to San Francisco, I usually see your mom. She comes up to the booth. She brings great cookies.
Oh,
and I'm sure she was really instrumental with you in all of your sports coming up as a kid.
Absolutely. She was an athlete, played college softball. She was a tennis player, is still a tennis player. You're right, San Francisco, that's the big deal. Everyone says, "Hi, Rich, where's your mom? Where's the cookies?" Line her into center field. That's a base hit. Hanley Ramirez into center. So he worked the count against Nice. Broke the bat. Now, this is what you see when you come to San Francisco. That's Mom. Those are orange rolls, actually, not cookies, but she'll deliver the cookies in San Francisco.
Yeah, the entire crew always wants to know what day is Mom coming up.
That was a shot from Christmas this year in Florida. Austin Kearns now. Kearns takes outside. A couple hits in the second for the Marlins. Getting a hit with a runner in scoring position has been really tough for the Fish. We've showed you the numbers already. The Marlins dead last in baseball.
It becomes one of those things, Rich, that starts to build and it mounts. So now every time you get in that situation with a runner in scoring position, now you want to be the guy. And it kind of snowballs, and it's tough to get out of.
Marlins 0 for 3 in this ball game with runners in scoring position. And it's 1-1. Mother's Day crowd here. It was sunny and nice at about 10 o'clock. The roof was closed, which should have told us something, and it did. It started to rain like heck about 11:30.
One of the Mets broadcasters asked us, how can they have the roof closed? It's nice outside. You don't know South Florida.
Yeah, it poured. You were unable to see downtown. The rain was so hard. from about 11:30 to 12:15. 2-1. Nice to the plate, and he misses outside. Nice, you talked about it, Tommy. Not necessarily the great pickoff move, but so good at holding runners and so quick to the plate. Not a lot of people try to steal off him.
Not a lot. Not anybody has attempted a stolen base off Nice this year.
Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. Counts 3-1 though. And if the Marlins are thinking about running, they're getting close to a spot, and instead it's a roller to short, and that's why you may have wanted to start the runner. Kearns bounces into a double play, and the Marlins are done here in the third. Four bags of chips. Starts at just $54. Next 4 for $54 night is Tuesday against the Pirates at 7:10. Individual and group tickets available online at marlins.com. Carlos Zambrano's been outstanding. The Marlins have not been able to muster any offense against Jonathan Nice. And the 2, 3, 4 hitters, their second look at Zambrano, a sweeping curveball for a strike to Kirk Neuenhuis, who is a rookie. As Tommy pointed out, getting a chance to play with Jason Bay out with a rib injury. Bay is not close to coming back. Ruben Tejada is not close to coming back. And Josh Tolle is still suffering the effects of the collision when he was hit at the plate by Ty Wigginton of the Phillies. 1-1 pitch. Over the middle, Infante backhands. Neuenhuis runs well. That's going to be a base hit. AT&T trivia. Let's flip the phone. Here it is. Since Mother's Day, who are the 3 players tied for the most pink bat home runs?
Boy, that would be a kind of a random shot in the dark on that one. Or I guess you could say shot in the pink.
I know one former Marlin that has one, and that's Joe Borchard. Remember Joe Borchard in Pittsburgh with a Mother's Day home run? David Wright just keeps hitting. Lines it to right. Stanton picks it up. And the Mets have something going here. An infield hit for Neuenhuis. David Wright, a line drive single.
David Wright now 8 for 13 in this series.
And Zambrano's going to have to get a couple of left-handed bats out. Lucas Duda and Daniel Murphy.
Didn't the Hammer hit a home run on Mother's Day? Big one.
Well, Jeff Conine.
Yeah, Niner. He's gone Mother's Day and Father's Day.
They should have more celebratory days Also, one of the guys we said in that sequence is a correct answer. Is one of the three. I'd have to go Hammer because he's been in the league a lot longer than from. Yeah, there we go. So Josh Willingham is one of them. Zambrano checks the runner at second. That's Neuenhuis. And this is down low to Duda. It's 1-1. How about David Wright or Ryan Zimmerman? Two guys the Marlins have seen a lot of. Zimmerman seems to homer on every holiday, but apparently not Mother's Day.
4th of July, Memorial Day,
opening day.
Even homers on Christmas.
Yes.
Steps outside the backyard.
Kaboom. And he opened Nationals Park with a walk-off homer against the Atlanta Braves. How about those Nationals, by the way? How about Jordan Zimmerman yesterday? That one fouled back.
How about the little difficulties of the youngster, Bryce Harper, all of a sudden? He's hitting .213.
You know, I'll tell you what, though. Wilson Ramos was hurt yesterday.
He's going to be out a while. Yeah, ACL.
Jason Worth is hurt. Despite that, the Nationals just keep winning games because their starting rotation is so good. Washington 21-12, and the Braves are keeping pace. The Braves are 21-13, a half game back. Wow, that one sails all the way to the screen.
Boy, that's a big pitch because it takes away a possible double play. And it's going to be a pass ball. This is a fastball that just takes off, and John Buck can't make the play. The Nationals are doing in some way similar to what the Mets have been doing, getting production from guys who might not be playing, like a Roger Bernardino all of a sudden hit a couple of big home runs for them. Bryce Harper up, contributing.
Ian Desmond has had some big hits. Nationals are delayed in Cincinnati for the start of their game. Zambrano misses outside, and he's gone 3-2 now to Lucas Duda. The inning opened with that grounder over the middle that Infante tried to backhand, couldn't handle. Neuenhuis got a hit to right, then smacked his 8th hit of the series to right field. A pass ball has moved him up to scoring position. The 3-2. Breaking ball, ground ball. Infante has this one. They'll spin, get the play. The Mets get the first run of the ball game.
And again, continue to do those little things correctly. First of all, Duda makes contact, so he gets a productive run to come in on this ground ball. Secondly, he pulls the ball. See how he reached out and he tried to do that infield back? That tells me he had an idea when he went to the plate in that situation what he was trying to do, especially after the pass ball.
Miami is going to bring the infield in for a very good contact hitter, Daniel Murphy. Strike from Zambrano. David Wright is at third base. Murphy, the Jacksonville product.
You know, if you had an offense that was banging out a lot of base hits, scoring a lot of runs, you might play this a little differently. You might play the infield back and go for the out if the Mets get their second run. But when you have an offense that's struggled with runners in scoring position, you have to play it this way.
Here's the 1-1. Zambrano misses away. Very tidy first 3 innings for Zambrano, but here in the 4th, he's run into some issues. A pair of hits, a pass ball, a ground ball. Wright waiting at third base, and he's going to score as Murphy punches one through the drawn-in infield.
You mentioned it, Rich, a good contact hitter. And for a guy like Murphy, he sees that infield come in, and his eyes light up. And I don't know if this had been an out or a base hit anyway, but this ball quickly gets by Hanley Ramirez, and the Mets get another run.
And do another little thing right.
So for a long time, Zambrano had that shutout streak going, and the Mets have picked up a couple here in the fourth.
He'd gone 19 innings without giving up a run. So now one out, and Ronnie Cedeno comes up. The Phillies have scored first against the Padres. Cole Hamels pitching against his hometown team. Runner goes, swinging a dribbler Hanley's way. He has it, fires over to first in time, and there's 3 people converging on third base, and that's a reaction, Tommy, to the play yesterday where the Marlins got caught without anyone there. It was Lucas Duda who won the race to third, but in this play, the Marlins well aware that someone needed to be at third base.
Well, Hanley coming in for this ball on a hit and run. Murphy on the move. Reyes starts to go to second and then realizes what Hanley's doing. Now he's got to get over here real fast. John Buck goes down there to third base.
Even Zambrano got over there.
It's a great lesson. A lot of Sundays we have kids Sundays. Of course, today we're dedicating to moms because it's Mother's Day, but it's a great lesson for kids. Watch what's going on even if the ball's not hit to you, because there's always some place that you can be to help out, the infield or the outfield.
Yesterday, if you just watched R.A. Dickey run around, you would have learned a lot, because Dickey made 3 very nice defensive plays. One of those was hustling to third in a rundown play and beating Mike Stanton to the bag. There's Dickey.
He really is complete when he's out there on the mound with what he can do, fielding. And Rich, we got a moment. You were complete in your broadcast yesterday, national broadcast with Tim McCarver.
Well, that's because I had a Hall of Famer sitting next to me.
That's right.
Tim McCarver is a lot like working with you, Hud.
There's Dickey.
There's Dickey. Now, no one's at third, and Dickey was backing up home plate because this was a base hit to begin with.
There's a lot of pitchers that aren't even close to that play.
There's a lot of pitchers that don't even back up home plate. He went from backing up home plate to getting down and covering third. And he's 5-1 now, Tommy. If he keeps this up, he could be all-star R.A. Dickey, which is just an incredible story in itself for a guy that has written a very compelling autobiography in the offseason. Valdespin takes a strike, and it's 0-2. The Phillies lead the Padres 2-0 in the top of the third in Philadelphia. Center field. Bonifacio lines it up and makes the catch. New York is on the board first in this one. The Mets scored twice in the fourth. brought to you by Bennett Auto Supply. Our prices bring you in and our people bring you back. We are still working on the robotic submarine fish tank cam. Hopefully we'll have that for you by mid-season.
I think we were finally able to get that in the budget.
We were. Here's Giancarlo Stanton, and he takes down low. That's good news.
I forgot to tell you, they took away your valet service so they could get the special camera.
You know what? It's a small price to pay for what will be terrific up-close shots. Giancarlo Stanton, Gabby Sanchez, Emilio Bonifacio in the fourth. Jonathan Neese now has the lead. And see if he can protect it. Stanton singled in the second, and Giancarlo has 5 hits and 9 at-bats in the series. He's got himself another one. He's starting to spray line drives all over the place, Tommy. And that's a great sign.
Yeah, both his base hits today, one into center. And that one, he has stayed back well. He has, this year, hit left-handers very well. That's a good sign. Look at that. Hits by direction. 12 to center. 3 to right.
A strike. Gabby bounced to the fielder's choice in the second. Takes outside. Now last year on Mother's Day, Gabby used the pink bat and went deep. But I suspect, Tommy, because of the way he swung the bat yesterday with the model that's in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't want to change.
It's kind of a choice, and certainly superstition is there. If you had some knocks and swung the bat well, you're gonna keep it.
And our producer John Solser points out it was a veteran move in the post-game interview, pointing out that he had more than one hit in that game, and that one of the hits was not only for his mom but also his mother-in-law. Neese with a nasty slider to strike out Gabby Sanchez. Our trivia question had to do with the pink bats. It's brought to you by AT&T. Since 06, 3 players tied for the most pink bat home runs. Josh Willingham is 1. Alex Rios, Hank Blaylock. Thank you.
It's always special with the drum roll.
That's our critically acclaimed audio man, Mark Butler. Bonifacio takes down low, and it counts 1 ball and 1 strike. Talking about R.A. Dickey having a year that he might sneak into the All-Star game. Carlos Ruiz for the Phillies is having a terrific year. Ruiz hitting .327. His on-base percentage .367. 6 homers, 22 driven in. He has never been an All-Star, Ruiz.
You know, he has some key guys out of that Philly lineup. He's trying to pick up the slack.
Bonifacio right spears it out there. Quick relay, and they get a fast man, Bonifacio, and a 5-4-3 double play. The rookie, Jordany Valdespin with the turn. Sanchez always hits the Mets well. 32 of 45 career games. The Marlins can count on Gabby Sanchez against the Mets. You can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Subway fifth inning on Mother's Day. The Marlins' offensive woes continue here. 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And now the Marlins are shooting themselves in the foot before they even get a guy in scoring position. They have bounced into double plays to finish the third and the fourth. Rob Johnson, Jonathan Neese, and Andres Torres. Johnson's old team is facing the Yankees' old starter, Andy Pettitte.
Actually, it's a very interesting matchup. It's Kevin Millwood against Andy Pettitte.
It's like you
that would have been a good one about 10 years ago.
1999, 2001. Orioles, Yankees.
Well, Seattle has gotten a couple of runs off Pettitte.
Two from Zambrano, misses away.
How about the lefty, formerly of the Rangers, now with the Angels, C.J. Wilson? His last couple of days.
He's the first pitcher to start back-to-back games in a long time.
Yeah, he started the game Friday night. Pitched, I think he only faced 5 batters, but he did give up 4 runs. Game was delayed about an hour and a half or so. Good fastball there. And he went and pretty much convinced his manager, Mike Scioscia, I want to start the next night against my former team. And he started last night. He got a no decision, but went 5 2/3 and pitched pretty well.
Had he received the loss last night, he would have been the first pitcher since Wilbur Wood to get the loss in consecutive games. Zambrano down low to Jonathan Neese.
And the only reason Josh Hamilton hasn't homered yet today, they play tonight.
Ball and a strike and an out in the fifth. Mets getting 2 off Zambrano in the fourth. Neese takes a strike.
It always accentuates what Carlos Zambrano is doing and what he's done so far with his numbers and the way he's pitched. Great off speed. When you look at the struggles, and they continue for a young kid out of Palm Beach Gardens, Chris Volstad. Chris Volstad lost again yesterday. He's 0-5 with the Cubs. Has an ERA of 6.92. And his struggles continue.
The irony is this: had the Marlins kept Volstad, he would have cost the Marlins more money in arbitration than the Marlins are paying for Carlos Zambrano. Marlins are paying, I think, about 2.4 or 2.5 million of the 18.5 million on Zambrano's contract. What the Marlins would like to do is start making some of these nice Zambrano starts pay off with wins. Misses outside. He got his first win, his last start, and he went the distance. Striking out 9 in Houston. Off speed pitch, Torres sends it out to right. Giancarlo Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. Halfway through, Zambrano and the Fish trailing 2-0. Marlins have 4 hits. Mets have 4 hits. But the Mets have had the hits when they've needed them most. The Marlins have not. John Buck, Carlos Zambrano, Jose Reyes. Buck walked back in the second inning. The second inning, the Marlins were able to load the bases with 1 out. Neese struck out Zambrano, and they got Reyes to pop out. That left them loaded. Marlins had a 1-out single in the third, erased by a double play ball. A leadoff single in the fourth, also erased on a double play ball.
Neese pitched 7 pretty good innings at Citi Field back on April 26th. Gave up just 2 runs, 4 hits, got a no decision. The Mets won that game 3-2.
To left, Neuenhuis in front of the Clevelander who makes the catch. And then gets heckled by a guy without a shirt on.
Just got out of the pool.
The all-you-can-eat special. Thankfully, that wasn't a guy with the all-you-can-eat special, which includes a Legend silver ticket, all-you-can-eat hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, popcorn, soda, and water. Just for $29. Individual and group tickets available. The next all-you-can-eat night is tomorrow night, Tommy, 7:10.
Always one of our favorite nights.
So shirts are optional in the Clevelander? What? That one, you know, we oftentimes get tweets and emails from our female fans wanting us to show more beefcake. And I don't know if that, I don't know if that qualifies.
Something going on out here now. A visit to the mound.
Yeah, Rob Johnson, the catcher, got clipped on a foul tip.
So it's not related to Jonathan Neese. Yeah, Neese said, "Yeah, I'm okay. Check with my catcher, though."
Yeah, and I think the umpire was making sure that Terry Collins didn't go on the mound to talk to Neese and said, "Hey, you're not the guy that's hurt."
On the, it was on the swing. You know what? I don't know if it's on the swing.
No,
I think he just boxed it.
Yep.
The way he stabbed at it.
And catchers will tell you, no matter how much padding they got, if you catch a ball wrong on your thumb, that'll really hurt. Zambrano is now 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts.
Each time when Neese has gotten 2 strikes on him, he's dropped that big slow curveball to get Zambrano to chase it.
Here's Reyes now with 2 outs and nobody on. Reyes had a very tough April. He hit just .220. His on-base percentage was under .300. Coming into today, and he's 0 for 1 today. May at .319 and an on-base percentage of over .400.
Well, a nice series, 5 for 10 in this series. There's a look at how he started and what's happened the last 12 games.
Our Cholula hot sauce spotlight. 2-1. Neese, who has this 2-0 lead, has thrown more pitches than Zambrano. This will be pitch number 85. That's in, and Reyes is aboard. As we noted, no one has attempted a stolen base against Neese this year.
Second time for Reyes drawing a walk.
Third walk that Neese has issued.
I think the only time we were expecting to see a runner on the move was in one of those double play situations. I believe it was when Kearns was hitting. We were both surprised that on a 3-2 pitch, Hanley wasn't on the move.
Now Infante bounced into a fielder's choice and then hit a deep shot to the warning track and left. Needs over to first.
You always expect, well, Reyes was a teammate of Nice's. He should know his move. Well, he's never seen it from that angle.
Cedeno has made some nice plays out there in this ball game, and the Fish still scoreless.
Happy Mother's Day shout out to my mom, Susie, my future mother-in-law, Sharon, and my grandmother, Ilda. Happy Mother's Day to all the other mothers out there as well.
Mother's Day at the ballpark right now, and the Met moms are much happier than the Marlin moms, though everyone proud of their sons and daughters on this Mother's Day. 2-0. Mets on top. Kirk Neuenhuis, David Wright, and Lucas Duda in the 6th against Zambrano. Zambrano 75 pitches into this ball game, and all but the 4th inning, he's been sharp. That 4th inning, Neuenhuis opened with an infield single. David Wright punching a line drive to right. A pass ball by John Buck set the inning really into a good spot for the Mets. They scored a run on a ground ball out from Lucas Duda, and then Daniel Murphy, after the infield had to come in, sent one into left field, an RBI hit, and that's how the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
And a part of that, because that ground ball out from Duda was to the right side, and got the run in, got the runner over. Good inning last inning that Zambrano was able to settle down and have a nice 1-2-3 inning. Make pitches just like that one.
Zambrano strikes out Neuenhuis. 6 strikeouts for Carlos. The news for the Washington Nationals today is not good on Wilson Ramos. He has torn the anterior cruciate ligament in his knee. He suffered the injury in the 7th inning, chasing after a ball that had bounced off of his glove. And
it's kind of a non-play.
It was. He will have his knee operated on. And so the Nationals now without Ramos, without Jason Worth.
So they'll go a little bit more with Jesus Flores.
Without Drew Storen.
Without Drew Storen. without Brad Lidge.
David Wright takes inside. Wright, another hit. What new? He's 1 for 2, 8 for 13 in the series. And a guy that had not hit Zambrano coming in. He was just 3 for 24 against him. The hit streak is now at 7 games.
That is a strong 7-game hitting streak. 14 for 28. Sometimes you put together that 7-game streak and you go 7 for 28.
Zambrano runs the count full to 3-2. Warren Henry brings you Fox Tracks. Daniel Murphy, by the way, has extended his hit streak to 9 games with a base hit. Big breaking ball, and Wright fouls it back. Marlins will see the Atlanta Braves for the first time in this upcoming road trip. As Wright walks, Atlanta is in St. Louis.
You think the Braves, Rich, have kind of gone under the radar a little bit at the beginning of the year?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think that's a team that no one's talking about, and they should, because Atlanta's 21-13. They're keeping pace with the Nationals, who are getting all the headlines with Strasburg and Harper, and it's a great story in Washington for sure. And of course, Atlanta last year had a postseason spot in their hands, and then at the very last minute, actually into the late hours, they lost it. They had the biggest collapse in baseball history until about an hour later,
yeah,
when the Red Sox blew there.
Yeah, they took the headlines. Braves also, if my memory is correct, didn't get off to a real good start this year. First week or 10 days of the season.
Lost their first 4 games.
Yeah. I like to look at box scores. You can learn a little bit. Looking the other day, Chipper Jones, who's having a good year at 40 years old, hitting 6th in the lineup.
Michael Bourne, Martin Prado, Freddie Freeman, Dan Uggla.
Uggla off to a better start than he had last year.
Uggla had such an odd season last year. He had the awful start, and then he had the long hit streak. The 31, 32, 33.
Yeah, I think we were in Atlanta, weren't we, when that thing was alive or when it ended?
33 games on the hit streak for Uggla. And if you were to poll us as to which players might have a hit streak that long, you would pick a guy like Bonifacio, who did have a nice streak last year, but Uggla, probably not. But he got hot, and he was terrific. Bonifacio had a 26-game streak last year.
I think if you were to pick a guy on the Braves that would have a 30-plus game hit streak, you would go with a Prado, a Bourne, because of his speed.
Even Freeman, who doesn't strike out as much as...
Yeah, but probably not Dan Uggla.
Marlins in Atlanta Wednesday and Thursday nights. Lucas Duda at the plate.
Already have the pitching matchups for those games. Mark Burley against lefty Mike Minor Wednesday night. And then Ricky Nolasco and Brandon Beachy Thursday.
Two and two. Slow roller is foul. Seattle has scored 4 times on Andy Pettit in his return, and it's 4-1 in the top of the 6th. Meanwhile, A.J. Burnett has thrown 3 shutout innings at Houston. 1-0 Pirates. Pirates are here tomorrow night. Maybe we can get A.J. to talk us through that video clip of him throwing the ball through the truck's window.
Maybe something he's tried to put in the past, but then again, maybe not.
Two and 2 to Lucas Duda. He's driven in a run. Wrights at first. And Zambrano to the plate. Got him. It was tipped. Buck holds it. And there are 2 outs.
4 strikeouts the last couple of innings for Zambrano. That's just a good fastball. Gets it by Duda. Good combo. The foul tip, but John Buck hangs on.
So he had a look with Foxmo.
Yeah, 4 of the last 5 outs have been strikeouts.
Wright is running. Zambrano's got him picked, and the Marlins execute Reyes with the tag. And a big smile from David Wright. Mets. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Thank you, Rich. I'm with Ileana Sanchez, Gabby Sanchez's mother. Behind us is Hanley Ramirez's mom, Isabel. We'll talk with her in a moment, too. Ileana, this day never gets old, I'm sure. Mother's Day, to be at the ballpark. You're here most of the time because you are a South Floridian, but
yes.
But how neat is it on this day for you to watch your son?
To me, it's a blessing to be here. I mean, I'm always here, but this is a special day, even though I don't have my mom with me anymore. It is a special day for me because I can enjoy it with my family, with my son, living his dream. So it's very important to me.
Last year on Mother's Day, Gabby had 4 hits and a home run and with that pink bat.
Yes.
You have that bat now?
Yes, I do, and it's signed by everybody in the team.
Nice. Now, yesterday, though, he had a good day, so he did not use the pink bat.
No.
Today. Did he say, Mom, do you understand that I'm not going to use the pink bat?
No, actually, he didn't ask me. I would have said yes, but use it.
All right, come on over here. This is Isabel Smith. Oh, nice play by David Wright, and he throws out. Isabel is Hanley's mother. That was a tough play. Give me your emotions on watching your son on Mother's Day.
¿Qué emoción tienes para mirando a Hanley jugar en el juego de hoy?
Bueno, una emoción, siento como madre que soy. Me siento bien viendo a mi hijo jugar.
Okay, it's a special moment for me seeing my son playing the game today.
And you probably thought he was safe too, right?
Y cree que fue también que fue safe ahí, que no lo agarraron.
Bueno, si el umpire dice que out, pero uno lo ve como que safe, pero imagínate.
Okay, to me it's always safe. But you know, if the umpire says, you know, he's out, but to me he's safe.
Happy Mother's Day. Nice to see you. Okay. Happy Mother's Day. All right, Mrs. Sanchez, Hanley's mother, joining us on Mother's Day. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Craig. David Wright, just an incredible play on the Hanley Ramirez smash. And Wright continues to show that he is much improved defensively, and the work that he has put in with Tim Tuffle has really paid off. The balance, the footwork.
That was incredible, that pick there. A two-time Gold Glover is David Wright. A play like that, he could be a three-time Gold Glover.
Well, his defense the last couple of years has declined.
Not sure what kind of hop you're going to get. The ball almost took him into left field. It was hit so hard, and he stayed with it.
He had some issues the last couple of years defensively, and he seems to have solved those. Kearns into right field. Miami has their 5th hit. However, it seems like every time the Marlins get a hit, they either bounce into a double play or leave the runners out there. They've left the bases loaded once in the 2nd and erased base hits with double plays in the 3rd and the 4th.
Well, a guy who has certainly helped out, Giancarlo, with a couple of hits today, 2 for 2. To me, you can always tell when Stanton gets locked in a little bit, he's a little more aggressive at the plate.
Like a slider.
Yeah, cutter, slider, but in a great location.
I told you Nice's pitch count was up there. He's approaching 100 pitches. This is number 98. Little dribbler out in front of the plate. Johnson's out there, and he'll throw him out. Nice play by the Mets catcher, Rob Johnson. Here comes Gabby Sanchez. Coors Light Freeze Cam. Freezing some of the strikeouts for Carlos Zambrano.
And in case you're counting, Zambrano has 7. His fastball has been live. He's had a good split, a good slider. Right now, the only thing he doesn't have is much support offensively.
Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Food. Coors Lights. Gabby Sanchez pulls a ground ball. David Wright flips it across the diamond in time. And the Marlins go meekly here in the 6th. It's 2-0 still. Mets.
I'll see you soon, and have a great day.
Mother's Day at the ballpark. Almost time to head home. Some of the youngsters getting a little sleepy here on a Sunday. Daniel Murphy takes a breaking ball for a strike. Carlos Zambrano enters the 7th. Murphy, Ronnie Cedeno, Jordani Valdespin. Zambrano's been good. Jonathan Neese has been better. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mets. They got them both in the 4th inning. The Marlins without a run and 5 hits. The Fish have left 6. And the Mets, as we pointed out in this series, economical, doing the little things right, have left only 2.
5 times the Marlins have had a runner at first base. And they've been erased at second. 3 by fielders' choices and a couple of double play balls.
So second base is where Marlins go to die.
Today, yes.
Murphy has walked. He had the RBI single in a drawn-in infield. That was in the 4th. We talked about it on Friday night, Tommy, that Murphy is starting to feel more comfortable at second base. Pulls it. Gabby Sanchez to Zambrano in time to get Murphy. And so the first out in the 7th. Here comes Ronnie Cedeno, the Mets shortstop. Mets have won 6 of 7. The Marlins have won 9 of 11 coming into this one. Anibal Sanchez for the Fish. And Brad Lincoln, the start for Pittsburgh, to open up a... It almost doesn't feel like you can call a 2-gamer a series. A series feels more like a 3 or a 4-game. But just a 2-game set for the Pirates and the Marlins.
Yeah, I'm with you. We won't call it a series.
And all of baseball, I think every team, maybe not every team, but just about all the teams, you look at the schedule across baseball and the landscape shows a pair of 2-game series coming up for everybody.
Yeah, the Mets go home, but they play a 2-game set against Milwaukee, and then another 2-game set against Cincinnati.
So I think you need to send a set of the Perry Hill infielding DVDs to the ball boy down there in left field. His footwork was there, but he didn't funnel.
Yep. Perry back in Texas. I know checks in on us occasionally.
Just to make sure we're following
the 5 Fs.
The 5 Fs.
Yeah.
The 6th one, well, here's a look. Whoop. So what was wrong there? Was it the footwork?
The footwork wasn't there, and then that translates into poor fielding, and then you don't get a chance to funnel. And then fire and follow.
So Cedeno's now at first base, and here is Valdespin.
We've already seen one other time today, Terry Collins put a hit and run on.
Especially with a 2-0 lead at this point in the game and getting close to the bottom of the order.
So it's something you could look for with this combination.
Absolutely. In the 2-game series across baseball, getting everybody in lockstep for interleague play, which starts on Friday of the coming week. Valdespin swings and misses. The Marlins will be in Cleveland, of all places, in a rematch of the '97 World Series.
And the Mets will be up in Toronto.
And that's a rematch of, well, it's not really a rematch. It's just an odd pairing.
They'll be at Rogers Center in Toronto.
And who knows what, I mean, from what we've read and heard, Major League Baseball still mulling over what the schedule will look like next year. We know that there will be interleague play every day. Valdespin brings it with him. He almost stepped on the ball, and Zambrano's throw is not in time. Valdespin can really run, and he was running right along with the baseball. If it touched him, he would be out, and he did a nice job of avoiding the ball and getting the hit.
Yeah, this is a great bunt. Really no play for Buck or for Zambrano. Carlos tries to get over there and flip it to first, but you could. There's one of those with the runner inside the line, but did he really interfere with the play? Probably not. Yeah, the Marlins take on the Toronto Blue Jays at home.
Watch the ball.
Boy, he just steps over it.
Oh, that's close.
Wow. See, and he's inside the line.
If Zambrano was able to get there earlier, then that becomes a factor.
And here's the oddity of that. If Zambrano happens to hit him with the throw,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You get the call.
Absolutely you do. But he was past the bag by the time the throw got there. Johnson up with one out, and Rob Johnson calls timeout.
So, and in hindsight, that's really a call that could be called.
But it has to interfere with the throw, correct? I mean, if Zambrano's throw...
But you could also say that in this case, it wasn't true because Zambrano just all-out effort tried to flip it.
Right.
But you could say a catcher or a pitcher altered his throw because of where the runner was. Then it's interference.
Two on, one out. Zambrano. Chopper. Reyes gets the out at first. Jonathan Neese, who's throwing a 5-hit shutout now, is going to come to the plate, or is he? Neese got to home plate and now is headed back to the Mets dugout.
Well, we talked about his pitch count. It's at 99. Terry Collins has been pretty successful with pinch hitters.
Look out, Ike Davis.
Wow.
That's he almost was knocked out of the game before he got to the plate.
Had to knock that flu bug right out of him.
Davis was in the original starting lineup, and at the last minute was scratched because of the flu. It's been going around in the Mets clubhouse. Davis is sick. Tim Tuffle, the third base coach, is sick today. Bob Guerin, the bench coach, is down the third baseline in this ball game.
So the choices that Collins had were Ike Davis or the other left-hander, Mike Baxter.
And Ozzie Guillen is on his way out to the mound. Guillen has not made the motion at all, and he's not going to go out there.
He wants Zambrano to go after Davis.
It's not easy managing when your team is not hitting because there's not a lot you can do. You can try to put the game in motion. Neese so good at holding runners. The Marlins haven't attempted a steal. And now Zambrano trying to hold it to 2-0. And Davis trying to shake off the flu bug and give his team a few more runs. We saw him right when the game started, and he did not look like he was feeling well at all. It's been a struggle. Remember, Davis missed, 5 months last year with the ankle injury?
Mike Davis has just 3 hits on the road this year. 3 for 49. Most of the damage he's done has been at home.
Valdespin. Out there along with Cedeno. 0-2 coming. It's Ike Davis. Little tapper foul. All the metrics, all the numbers that the Mets have been able to put up. Runners in scoring position, on base percentage. It has been a 25-man effort this year for Terry Collins and the Mets, and that's how they're at 19-14. They don't have a dominant starting staff. They don't have a dominant bullpen. But look at where they are. They're 5 over and hot right now. They've won 6 of 7. Zambrano 0-2.
14 pinch hits on the year, so guys have come through the other night, Friday night. Baxter, New and Heiss came through with big pinch hits, pinch hit doubles.
That's right. That's another superlative for this team. They're one of the best pinch hitting teams in the game. Here's the 1-2. Oh, that's way outside. And now it's 2-2.
Let's see if Zambrano, after that real slow breaking ball, shows Ike Davis something hard on this next pitch.
Here comes a 2-2. And he missed. He was trying to come in that back door again. 3-2. Look at the Fox tracks. Scatter shot at bat here. Zambrano has it and flips it over to first in time to get Davis. He strands a couple and keeps it at 2-0 Mets. The Miami Marlins. David Wright continues to hit. He's 8 of 13 in the series, and the Marlins are 0 of 4 with runners in scoring position. Watch party coming up on Thursday, the 17th. Duffy Sports Grill at the Intercoastal in North Miami Beach. Intercoastal Mall. Marlins and Braves at 7:10. You can win prizes. Meet that guy, Billy. his favorite, the Energy Tea. Wear your Marlins gear and get your first drink free at Duffy's Sports Grill. The Marlins watch party on Thursday night. If you're watching this one and you're a Marlins fan, you're wondering when are the Marlins going to score? Jonathan Neese was outstanding, 6 shutout innings, and Ramon Ramirez will take the baton from him, and now the Mets bullpen will try to close this thing.
Yeah, Ramirez took the baton from Johan Santana Friday night. Worked a nice, pretty uneventful 7th inning, walked 1. Saw a pretty good fastball, a slider, a changeup from Ramirez. So certainly a different look. Bonifacio switch over to the left side. And in a spot here where you might just see a pinch hitter with Zambrano due up third. And then obviously you got the top of the order after him. So Bonifacio, who is 1 for 2, he has singled and bounced into a double play. Ozzie Guillen, you know, the Marlins have won 9 of their last 11. But there are only a handful of nights where the bats have come alive. On Friday night, the Marlins had some big hits early and then big hits late as they jumped to a 3-0 lead, blew that lead. We're down 5-3, got a run in the 8th to make it 5-4, tied it, and then won it with 2 runs in the 9th. Yesterday, just 3 runs and a 9-3 Met win. And Bonifacio takes outside. Well, during that 9-win period, over 5 runs just 3 times.
Ramirez, strike, and it's 1-1. Jonathan Neese, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, of course. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He scattered the hits and he cleaned them up with some double play balls.
Right now, it appears nobody's warming up in the Met bullpen. So your thought, if you're Ozzie, is that you can use one of those nice left-handed weapons against Ramirez in this inning. You got Dobbs, you got Lomo.
That one just missed.
Yeah, you can hear home plate umpire Todd Tishner say, no, that's in.
And it was pitch 4. 3-1 coming. And it's 3-2. Bonifacio, right center field. That's deep. That's going to get to the wall. Will it be 3? Bonifacio is flying, and he is already at third base.
I'll tell you what, when Bonifacio hits one out there, you almost think 4. If there is any little bobble in the relay, Bonifacio scores. This ball is out there. It's a great swing on a 3-2 fastball. There's the little bobble, and that's why he was able to round third a little bit. But fun to watch Bonnie fly.
And he can run. And so he's at third. Now, obviously, the Marlins have to score him with John Buck, who has walked and flied out. Logan Morrison is on deck.
Believe it or not, Bonifacio's first triple of the year.
Only his 2nd extra base hit of the year. And Buck pulls it foul. The infield's back, and with Bonifacio's speed, you would expect a ground ball that gets past the mound to cut the lead in half. But as the Marlins have found out today, and even in this nice run of 9 wins in 11 games, you can't assume anything. Buck, left center, that's deep. Torres back, it is gone! It's tied! Light that thing up!
What a welcome sight the home run sculpture is on the John Buck 2-run homer. It is amazing when you have a pitcher who's really shut you down and you get a different look, even though the next guy might have better stuff. But all of a sudden, with Ramirez in here, a triple, a home run, just like that, a tie game.
Now Morrison will take the at-bat. And Ramirez misses outside. That's a long ways out there to left center field.
Looked like a little slider he got from Ramirez, and you're right. When you shoot it out in that direction, you got to have a little muscle, and John Buck has that muscle.
That was out near Jeff Conine's Stairway to Heaven. Morrison, that's in right center. Torres over, and he's there to make the catch. Andres Torres runs down the Morrison drive. And here comes Reyes. And John Buck. His mother-in-law is in the building. And I'm sure blowing kisses in her direction. That's a professional move.
Always is.
Reyes has walked twice and popped out. Pulls a ground ball foul. The Marlins go triple with Bonifacio, homer with John Buck. It's his 4th of the season. .399 feet on the home run by Buck. As you know, we've talked about the dimensions of this ballpark. When you stop and think about it and really look, it's 418 to straightaway center, and that corner grows even more. But as the wall wraps in front of that home run sculpture, Reyes in the right field, a base hit. Tommy, that part of the ballpark is probably not as deep as if he went a little bit left of there, because the wall obviously juts out in front.
Yeah, right in here.
Watch where the ball lands.
Yeah, he was
well distanced.
He was attacking the base of the home run sculpture.
It was off the base. No flamingos were hurt in the
But
film.
you're right. Back in this area is where it grows deeper.
You see the 418 sign, and I'm sure that deepest, darkest recess of that corner is probably about 425. 26,401 here on Mother's Day.
Where, for the first time, Marlins fans that are mothers are able to come and relax in a nice environment watching the ball club play a game on Mother's Day.
And not sweat through their clothes and have their kids hot and dehydrated. And of course, Tommy, the big highlight, and I'm surprised that we're not showing this on Marlins Live. Moms get to run the bases with the kids in the Diamond Dash.
It used to be a feature, and we see it at all the ballparks on Sunday afternoon. Kids run the bases. And you wouldn't see many at Sun Life. I mean, waiting around, it's hot. I heard the lines have been unbelievable for kids to get on this field, this new ballpark, and run the bases. It's great.
Maybe Reyes is running the bases here. Ramirez over. Reyes just got back. Gary Thurman, the first base coach, in for a quick word.
Bob Johnson, pretty strong arm behind the plate.
The wave has become a very popular late inning exercise for everybody. Infante an 0 for 3 ball game. He's hit the ball hard twice. Reyes was leaning.
Boy, he's gotten his maximum lead because those last 2 attempts have been real close. Real close.
8 stolen bases, been caught 4 times.
That tells you as a runner, can't get off any further.
Ramon Ramirez in relief of John Neese, who went 6 shutout innings. But the Marlins have tied it here. Infante to center. Torres lines it up and makes the catch. Emilio Bonifacio with a triple to open the inning, and John Buck with a home run. And just like that, a 2-0 lead. And all the work that John Neese did over 6 innings, up in smoke. 2 hitters in.
Rich, I have a quick wave question.
A wave question?
Yes. Does the wave go clockwise or counterclockwise, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. As long as people are having fun.
Okay.
I've seen the Exmo wave where fans do the wave in slow motion.
Our crack staff telling us down under in Australia it goes the other way.
Yeah, once you go below the equator, Tommy, that would be correct. Hanley Ramirez is 1 for 3. Jose Reyes is still at first. And let's see if that lasts. Ramirez singled in the 3rd. He's bounced out twice. 2 hot teams, 2 of the hottest teams in the National League, in the middle of the pack in the National League East. The Marlins have won 9 of 11. The Mets have won 6 of 7. A strike. One of the hitters that the Marlins are trying to get loose is this man, Hanley Ramirez. As Tommy pointed out, production-wise, he's having a decent year. 6 homers, 22 runs driven in. A lot of hitters across the landscape of baseball would take that. Albert Pujols would kill for that right now. But his batting average and his on-base percentage have not been there.
Pujols would kill for his batting average right now.
See, the power is up. The on-base percentage is under 300. The batting average just over 200. In the 3 spot. That's where he's been from the get-go for Ozzie Guillen. Reyes still at first. 2 outs. 0-1. It's a pitch out, and it almost looked like Ramirez
gave it away.
Gave it away by a quick pitch to the plate.
I think the biggest mistake that pitchers make on pitch outs is they don't do their normal delivery. They give it away.
Which, as a base stealer, once you see that,
if you're an alert base runner, and I would assume Jose is, he picked that up right away.
Ramirez ready. Outside corner. A strike. The Marlins, a walk-off come-from-behind win on Friday night after they had blown a lead for Mark Burley.
I think it's amazing, the Friday night walk-off win. That's the Marlins' 4th walk-off win in their new ballpark.
And it's the 4th time in this run of 11 games that the Marlins have blown a lead like that, yet still won the game. I mean, they did it 3 times on the road trip in which they went 8-1. The best road trip ever for a Marlin team. Reyes from first. Now with 2 strikes, you would think he'll be running. And the Mets keep going over there.
Well, I give Jose Reyes a lot of credit because a lot of base runners will shorten up just a little bit, but he has gotten that maximum lead every time, and every time it's been a close play at first base. It also gives some credit to Larry Vanover, the first base umpire.
If he's taking that maximum lead with every stretch and every pitch, you would think
sooner or later
he's got to go.
Yeah, sooner or later he has to go. This would be the good time.
With 2 strikes, Ramon Ramirez, there goes Reyes, good jump, and Hanley pops it up behind the plate. Johnson is back, and it's over the screen and out of play. So the game of cat and mouse and a strenuous last 5 minutes for Jose Reyes continues.
Because you don't think, even with the count 1 and 2, you don't think they're going to pitch out again.
Count still 1 and 2 to Hanley Ramirez. Mother's Day in Miami and a big crowd at Marlins Park. $31,000 Friday night, $32,000 yesterday. 26,000. Reyes on the way, and Hanley again fouls it back to the screen.
It's been a good weekend for baseball. Certainly Mets fans have come out here, as they always do. Marlins fans coming out after that great road trip. Best ever in club history.
Coming off just an awful stretch in which the club lost 8 of 9 and then went on the road and promptly won 8 of 9.
And still, I think, realizing the club hasn't played to its potential at all.
Reyes is back. Tell you what, all the throws that Ramirez has made over to first have been good ones. Quick tags by Murphy as well. You see Tim Burdack. Is it just me, or has Tim Burdack worked in every game this week?
I think so. I think every game this season.
Burdack is up. He's appeared in each of the Mets' last 6 games.
He's been in 20 games this year.
Reyes is running, big jump. Hanley takes it, no chance. That is a well-earned stolen base.
The efforts paid off.
Just look at Reyes' face.
Yeah, all the efforts of Jose Reyes certainly paid off. Not even a chance, and no play by Johnson. He realized that. Still some spring in his step because he knows he might have to score on a base hit.
Two-two to Hanley Ramirez. And he went around. And all that effort, Jose Reyes goes for naught. The Marlins are still struggling with runners in scoring position. But they get a big 2-run homer from John Buck and tie it at 2. world's most dangerous tape room. Bringing you through the sights and sounds and the big swing of John Buck on this Mother's Day in Miami. Mets scored first against Carlos Zambrano, got 2 runs in the 4th. The Marlins getting the Buck homer to tie it in the bottom of the 7th. And Edward Mujica comes in, and he lands right at the top of the order for the Mets. Andres Torres, Kirk Neuenhuis, and the red-hot David Wright. And there are Mujica's numbers. Mujica with a strike. Mujica did not look sharp on Friday night. He was part of the bullpen collapse by the Marlins. Mark Burley had a 3-0 lead, a 3-1 lead when the pen arrived, and moments later, the Mets got a run in the 7th and 3 more in the 8th. Gorgeous pitch.
That's a little sharper. Yeah, Mujica got just 1 out in that 8th inning, giving up a couple of hits and 3 runs.
So the 2 starting pitchers won't figure in the decision in this one. Kirk Neuenhuis is up. And, you know, both pitchers can state the case that they deserve a better fate. Zambrano, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And his ERA is 1.88. Neuenhuis knocks that one into right center field. Giancarlo Stanton picks it up. Mets have a base runner here in the 8th. Jonathan Neese, on the other hand, 6 shutout innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. He watched Ramon Ramirez give up the triple to Bonnie and the home run to Buck. Toyota trend. Since 2011, the Mets are 14-2 in games when David Wright hits a home run. David Wright homered in yesterday's ball game. He had 4 hits in yesterday's game. A lot of notes about Wright because he enters the ball game with an average of over 400. Through May 12th, the last Met, in fact the only other Met to have an average of over 400. It's a foul ball. One of Craig's heroes, Cleon Jones.
One of the rare, he's an outfielder, threw left-handed, hit right-handed a la Cody Ross. Cleon Jones.
Cleon Jones was hitting .411 on May 12th, 1969.
I think Craig had a Cleon Jones, maybe a Tommy A.G. poster in his bedroom.
You know what I remember? What I remember about Cleon Jones is he caught the last out in the '69 World Series, and the thing about it was he caught it and he went down to his foot when he made the catch. And you don't know how many times in a wiffle ball game I made that same catch. Catch it up high and kind of go down to your ankles.
That's right, and then celebrated with a ginger ale shower, right?
That's right.
With a high five to Ron Swoboda.
Did they high five back then? I don't know.
Yeah, no knuckles, high fives back then.
Okay. 1-2 to David Wright.
It was David Wright, by the way, who doubled to greet Edward Mujica in that 8th inning Friday night.
There's a roller up the middle. Reyes Infante's turn is in time. Just like that, Edward Mujica gets a double play. Infante's okay. Marlins and Mets 2-2.
All the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day, especially Nana, hello. My mom, I love you. And happy Mother's Day also to my girlfriend's mom, Miss Stafford.
Nicely done on a Mother's Day in Miami. And a 2-2 ball game. Kids getting ready to run the bases. Never advisable to have a helmet full of ice cream before that run, but maybe in an inning or two you'll be able to burn it off. Austin Kearns, Giancarlo Stanton, Gabby Sanchez against the big man, John Roush. Roush adds some depth to this Mets pen and versatility. He's a guy that can save if you need to slide him into that closer's role. Roush taking over for Ramon Ramirez, who gave up the 2 runs in the 7th.
This guy, to Rich, over the years with whoever he's been with, be it the Nationals, Minnesota, he answers the call.
Roush thought he had a strike there, and it's 2-1. Kearns takes a strike. Kearns has singled in 3 trips. The Marlins 2 runs on 8 hits. 2 of those hits were for extra bases, and they came back-to-back to start the 7th. The triple by Bonifacio, the home run by Buck.
Occasionally, Roush uses that curveball, but a lot of fastballs and sliders, and then, of course, with his size, he gives you a different look. Heath Bell getting ready in the Marlins bullpen. Who's going to say anything to a guy who has baseball seams tattooed on his neck
and is the tallest pitcher in baseball history?
Yeah.
Three and 2. Slow chopper right has been so good, and he continues to sparkle with the glove. He's had so many big hits in this series. He is playing at an awful high level right now.
That's one of those plays, too, that only the third baseman can make. Austin Kearns, who doesn't get a lot of infield hits, might beat this out if it gets to the shortstop, Cedeno. But with Wright cutting in front of him, he's able to make the play.
And maybe you could qualify that by saying only an athletic third baseman makes that play. With the throw across the body to get the out. Giancarlo Stanton now takes a ball.
Does David Wright finish his career with the New York Mets?
Had that discussion with Tim McCarver yesterday, and there's 2 ways to look at it. One is the Mets can't afford to keep him, and the other is a lot of people will say the Mets can't afford to let him go if they're going to rebuild the franchise, and they certainly out of necessity, not by design, have had to go young. So far that's been successful this year. At some point you need an anchor player, don't you, to build around?
I agree. I think you have to retain him, but he's going to command a lot of money, and he's not yet 30.
He's 29. There's a strike to Stanton, and it's 3 and 2. See if he gets a good rip at this. His 2 hits have been line drives today. And Roush just throws it by him. So John Roush has restored order out of the Mets pen. He gets a couple outs, and Gabby Sanchez comes up. This is the 50th anniversary season for the New York Mets. Roush starts him with a slow breaking ball for a strike. Well, the Marlins bullpen has not been a sure thing this year, and the Mets bullpen at times have had their issues.
Gabby's only home run this year in New York. Final game of that series up at Citi Field. I think that was that the Drizzly day? It was a 3-2 loss.
Well, the Drizzly day was the Kirk Neuenhuis walk-off after the 4 walks by Heath Bell.
I didn't say dismal. I said drizzly.
I think that day would qualify as both.
Yeah, I think that's right. That was the last day of that series.
1-2 pitch. Roush misses down low. Two ball game. Bottom 8. A pop-up. And a catch there by Johnson right on the rail. Marlins are done in order in the 8th. On comes the 9th. It's still 2-2. Have not been in safe situations, but they've been in spots like this where it's a tie game late, and the Marlins have had 2 nice outings from Bell.
Yeah, I think Ghazi has tipped his hand as to how he's going to use Heath Bell. And you go back to those last 2 outings, he's been a much better Heath Bell. He's pitched the way he did the last 3 years with San Diego.
So Bell arrives. Edward Mujica followed up 7 strong innings from Carlos Zambrano. Well, he got a scoreless 8th. And I guess you would expect it. I mean, the Mets and the Marlins opened this series on Friday night. 2 very hot teams. Marlins blew a 3-0 lead. The Mets had the 5-3 lead. The Marlins came back, tied it, and won it in the bottom of the 9th. Yesterday, R.A. Dickey was too much for the Fish. David Wright was spraying balls all over this place. And the Mets won 9-3. And so here they are in the final game of the series, in the final inning of this game, at 2-2. Lucas Duda Daniel Murphy, Ronnie Cedeno for the Mets. Bell opens with a strike.
By the way, on this Mother's Day, one of our top crack staffers out on the West Coast. A shout out to Steph. So a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, we celebrate Mother's Day wherever we might be on MLB.TV.
My mom, long gone, but boy, was she instrumental in helping me with Little League and baseball through high school and everything.
Here's the 1-1. Was your mom an athlete? Did she?
You know, she was not, but her brother, my uncle, played about 15 years professionally. Played AA, AAA, St. Louis Browns organization. So we used to go out as a family on the weekend when I was very small and watch Uncle Bill play semi-pro games.
To left, and Kearns is there, and he makes the catch. Craig?
Well, I will tell you this. She's a big Rich Waltz and Tommy Hutton fan, and she wasn't a big baseball fan when I was growing up, though always my great supporter, and that is my mother, Tina, who is watching the game today and enjoying the Marlins. And she came out to the park, and she loves it and has become a big baseball fan in the last 10 years or so. But she enjoys sports, and really, and you guys have seen her after games. Always loves to say hi to you guys when you leave the booth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great fan, and she looks great in that picture. And what were you, 12 in that picture?
I guess I've aged. That was only, I think that was taken in 04. Mom's going to be 86 in August.
Wow, she looks great.
Happy Mother's Day. 0-1 pitch to Daniel Murphy. Ground ball, and Murphy's got himself another hit. It might be two. He's racing around first. Kearns bare hands it. Murphy is in there with a double.
You know, you really just have to pitch around this now if you're Heath Bell, because he made a great pitch. He got in on Murphy. He jammed him. He tied him up. Sometimes with a lefty up there, you're not going to play on the line all the time. Hanley off the line, you don't expect this to happen. And Murphy just was able to squeak it by, even though he didn't hit that ball all that hard.
So a jam shot, and Ronnie Cedeno is up. Cedeno has bounced into a double play, walked, also grounded out. That one popped back to the screen. And it's 0-1. Cedeno just came off the disabled list. So the Mets, who felt that Ruben Tejada would be the guy that would fill in the departure of Reyes. Tejada is still out.
He has a thigh injury.
Oh, 1. Bell misses away, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The one stark difference you see in the last 2 appearances, and even in this one for Bell, is just his plane. He's pitching downhill, and he's got the ball, the fastball, he's spotting low in the zone.
Everything's been knee-high or below. Just like that, fastball, but early on, he was making that same pitch, 93, 94 miles an hour, but it was up a little bit.
Ozzie Guillen looking up. The Mets have a chance to go to 20-14. The Marlins have a chance to go to 18-16. Daniel Murphy, 2 more hits in the ball game. A 9-game hit streak. And a big run out there for New York. Bell's 1-2. Velocity's been good. 94 on that fastball. 1-2. Breaking ball, no swing.
Bell has that distinctive posture when he's on the mound, trying to get Cedeno to commit to the breaking ball. He didn't, but he gets a sign and leans over. He kind of waggles that arm.
Two. Now he's gone full. If you're thinking about pinch hitters for the Mets, there's Jordani Valdespin, the rookie. He came into the lineup late when Ike Davis was scratched with the flu. Davis has actually come and gone with a pinch hitting appearance. And Bell loses Cedeno. And now here comes Valdespin, who can really fly, so he's a tough guy to double up.
Tough guy to double up, but you have an inexperienced hitter in Valdespin, and you have a career 200 or a little below hitter in Johnson, but you could see a pinch hitter for Rob Johnson.
You got Justin Turner,
Mike Baxter, lefty.
Well, Baxter's been terrific this year. He's been the best pinch hitter in the National League. And you might see him for Johnson because you have Nikias who can come into the ball game. Bell's got to get by Valdespin first. Buck throws behind the runner. That was close. Cedeno just got back in.
Good play, good communication between John Buck and Gabby Sanchez. Gabby right there, and Cedeno just did get on the bag.
Bell threw a strike, and it's 0-1. Little tapper. Bell has it and gets the out. And now let's see if Terry Collins pulls the trigger and brings Baxter in. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Baxter really has been incredible this year. See the pinch hit leaders. Baxter with 7.
And 7 for 16. Got a pinch hit double the other night.
And now they're talking with Ozzie Guillen about to join the conversation. Is this about pitching around Baxter to get to the 9 spot?
If you get to the 9 spot, you'll probably have to deal with Nikias because he's got to come in and catch, even though Turner's around too. You just wonder how many players Terry Collins would want to use. Right now, Turner's on deck.
Yeah, Collins has got Turner on deck. That may be more show than go, but you never know.
Could be.
Terry Collins is a very good manager.
Because if he were to use Turner, he's using a whole lot of guys in this one inning. But either way, we'll find out because Baxter's going to be put on.
The Marlins have seen enough of Baxter.
This also shows you the confidence that Ozzie has regained in Heath Bell and the way he's throwing strikes.
Well, Turner has taken the swings on deck. He's kind of glancing into the Mets dugout. And it looks like he's going to get the at-bat.
You just have to make sure when you make this move that there's no question you have to throw strikes at the next hitter because there's no place to put him.
Marlins complete the intentional walk to Baxter. And here comes Turner. So Ozzie Gant gambling a bit. Terry Collins countering in a 2-2 game in the ninth.
Yeah, and Collins himself is gambling a little bit, using all of these men in this one inning with Baxter. He's going to have to use Nickius to come in and catch because Baxter pinch hit for Johnson. And now he's using Turner right here as well.
Bases filled with Mets in a 2-2 game in the ninth in Miami in the final game of a 3-game set. Marlins and Mets have split the first two, both very hot. Bell's first pitch is out. And it's 1-0. See, Turner has 3 pinch hits this year. Turner hitting just .200 this season. But last year, this is a spot that Justin Turner thrived in. Turner last year hit .350 with runners in scoring position.
He's gotten some big hits against the Marlins, too. Look at those numbers.
It's 2-0 now. And here's what you talked about. There's no safety net when you walk Mike Baxter. The bag's loaded. Bell has no place to put Turner. And the 2-0 pitch is a fastball, and Turner was ripping.
Well, he knew he was going to get that fastball 2-0. He's probably going to get one 2-1, too.
And 1 to Justin Turner. Bases loaded. Bell. Another fastball, and it's fouled off. So he fell behind 2-0 after the intentional walk to load the bases. Now he's 2-2.
I saw that shot of Ozzie. Managers get paid a lot of money. They have to make these decisions. Ozzie's made some. Terry Collins has made some. But then it's up to the players to execute.
Heath Bell's 2-2. Up and in with a fastball. And he's gone to 3-2.
And now he has to throw that fastball again.
A Mother's Day crowd buzzing in Miami. Heath Bell trying to keep it at 2-2. 3-2 coming. And we'll do it again. You pointed out Turner last year thrived in spots like this. He had a 13 pitch at bat in that Mets sweep against Heath Bell. The ball game in which Bell walked 4 and Kirk Neuenhuis hit the walk-off hit. Turner and Bell battled there. And that one's a fair ball down the right field line. That's going to score Murphy. That's going to score Cedeno. Baxter is held. And Turner wins the battle again. And the struggles for Heath Bell continue.
Knew he was going to get the fastball, but we talked about all those fastballs, how he was keeping him down knee high or below. That one, very similar to pitches he threw in New York. It was up, it was out over the plate, and give Turner credit for having a good battle.
Now it's Torres. And Torres swings and misses. A single by Murphy, a walk to Cedeno, the intentional walk to Baxter, and another prolonged at bat by Justin Turner. Bell's 0-1. Torres to left. Kearns makes the catch. To the bottom of the ninth, the Marlins need 2. Fox Sports Florida brought to you by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Checkers, feast on. Taste of Miami Cuban sandwich. Right now, Justin Turner, overdrive. Another big at bat as he had up at Citi Field. It was a 13-pitch at bat. He ended up with a walk, and now he delivers a 2-run double against Heath Bell. And instead of a 2-2 game, it's 4-2 Mets. Mike Nikias does come in behind the plate for Rob Johnson. And the Marlins get another look at Frank Francisco. Fish hung a loss on Francisco on Friday night.
They're going to have to do what they did against Francisco Friday night, and that's score a couple of runs off of him just to tie this thing.
The Marlins in that inning, in that ninth, were down 1. They did score 2 to win it.
When you look at that last inning, Rich, I thought the key to the inning was losing Cedeno and walking Cedeno with 1 down and Murphy at second base. That set up and set in motion all the things that happened in that inning.
Bonifacio, who has tripled, singled, and bounced into a double play. Francisco catches the corner. On Friday night, in that ninth inning, Bonifacio, with a drawn-in infield, had an RBI single.
And the guy with the game-winning hit is going to pinch hit in this inning, Greg Dobbs.
1-2. Up and in. Bonifacio's just trying to get on base right now. Francisco, the 32-year-old Dominican, who makes his offseason home right here in Miami. Toronto last year, Texas for many years. Closed for Texas in 2009. 3-2 coming. Now it's Bonifacio who's trying to just become a pest and stay alive and force Francisco to keep throwing strikes. Well, the Marlins, and we asked this question on Friday night, which ending would the script have? The Marlins have seen this act before. They have blown leads late, but in this span of games over the last week and a half, they seemingly always come back and win that game. Here's the 3-2. But as you pointed out, the odds are you're gonna do that for a little bit, but you can't sustain that.
No, you can't. Sooner or later, you got to get 5 or 6 runs in the first or second inning. Of course, then the Marlins did that in San Diego, and that didn't work out either. Remember, the Padres came back and got 6 off Josh Johnson.
Francisco, 3-2 coming to Bonifacio. Fastball line into left center field. That's extra bases. Bonifacio racing for second, thinking about 3, and he's on his way. He's got another triple.
That's a good start. How about back-to-back at bats for Bonifacio, and he's tripled. One into right center, this one into left center, and he just flies.
He came into the ballgame without a triple. Now he's got 2. He's 3 for 4. But of course, his run isn't the big one. The big one stands at the plate, and that's John Buck, a 2-run homer in the 7th to tie the game at 2. And Francisco misses down low. It's 1-0 to Buck. As you pointed out, Greg Dobbs had the big hit on Friday, the walk-off hit, and he is on deck.
Yeah, that's a good feeling knowing that you've done it off this same pitcher within the last couple of days.
After Buck, you've got Reyes, then Infante. That's low as well. The Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. This was off Ramon Ramirez. John Buck lost it. It's the Cold Hard Blast, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Two and 0. That catches the knees. And it's 2-1. 4 home runs for Buck. Remember, he had 2 on the road trip. Dobbs trying to get as much of a look at this right-hander as he can on deck. Nope, that missed as well. And it's 3-1. You can see the first 3 pitches all clubbed together. Pitch number 3 was called a strike. Pitch 4 missed out. And so Francisco's not getting the low strike called. And Buck sits with a 3-1 count.
Looking for that fastball.
That is ball 4. And here comes Dobbs. See if the Marlins pinch run for Buck. And they will. Brett Hayes pops out of the dugout, and he's on his way out. On Friday night against Francisco, with 2 outs and a runner at second in a tie game, Dobbs and the Fish walked off. And here is Dobbs now with Hayes at first and Bonifacio at third and nobody out.
Well, we were talking about the Mets' prowess in pinch hitting. Greg Dobbs, 4 for 13 this year coming off the bench. Mets going to play a double play position.
And Dobbs climbs in. Outfield very deep. Dobbs takes outside. And it's 1-0. And the Mets bullpen is active right now. Manny Acosta is getting loose in a hurry. Dobbs is not a guy that hits a lot of balls on the ground. 1-0. Lines it into right center, base hit, and Hayes is on his way to third. He's going to get there.
I'm seeing things again.
Greg Dobbs again.
And almost in the same spot. Little looping line drive into center field. Just like that, a one-run game, just like that. The pinch runner, Brett Hayes, gets himself to third. Good pitch, too, by Francisco. It's down, away, Dobbs right on it.
And again, you know, we point out as Terry Collins comes in, and he's going to make a pitching change here. Dobbs is not a guy, Tommy, that hits a lot of ground balls. That is a ground ball pitch. If you try to yank that thing, that's a rollover 4-6-3 double play. Dobbs was able to lift it into the outfield. It's a one-run game in Miami. Francisco is out. Acosta is in. Out bottom of the ninth. Todd Titchener, the home plate umpire, got an earful from Frank Francisco, who did not make a graceful exit. Terry Collins
trying to run interference. Of course, Francisco upset. A couple of those close calls didn't go his way. And Collins trying to stay in between Francisco and Todd Titchener, the home plate umpire.
Well, the stage is set now. Manny Acosta arrives, and it's been a rough go for him this year. You see the ERA and the bottom line, the opponent's batting average. The Mets infield is coming in. Brett Hayes is at third. He's the tying run. Greg Dobbs is at first. He's the winning run, and there's nobody out.
And remember, the Marlins have already had 4 walk-off wins in their new home.
Reyes takes a breaking ball for a strike from Acosta. And it's 0-1.
Fastballs, slider, occasional changeup from Manny Acosta.
One is down low. This is the top of the order. So after Reyes, you've got Omar Infante, and and then Hanley Ramirez. Reyes's sample size is small, but 3 for 3 against Acosta, and the infield is in. Dobbs is being held at first. And the 1-1. Lined into center field. Deep. Torres is there, and he makes the catch. Tagging is Hayes. He will score. This game is tied.
It's taken a while, but all of a sudden in this inning, everything's coming together. A lot of the little things. Great AB by Reyes. Solid swing to get the run in from third. And a tie ball game. Anywhere but straightaway center, the ball game's over. That ball finds a gap, and Dobbs scores from first.
As we pointed out, the Marlins have won 9 of their last 11. 4 of those 9 wins, the Marlins have blown a late lead, but have won all 4 of those games. And here they are again. They didn't blow a lead, but Heath Bell gave up 2 runs in the top of the inning to make it 4-2. And the Marlins have battled back to tie it at 4-4. And now you've got Infante with a count 1-0. Dobbs, not the fleetest of foot, but a good base runner. He has a stolen base this year. And Infante red hot. You saw the numbers, though he doesn't have a hit today. And Acosta is struggling. And the Mets trying to close with Francisco. They've already used John Rauch, who's kind of the vice president of closing for the Mets. He's the number 2 guy that Terry Collins has turned to. 2-0 pitch coming to Infante. Pop up behind first. Valdespin is there, and he makes the catch.
Boy, a lot of speed. You needed that. Valdespin did to get to that ball because it wasn't that high in the air. That's a tough call also for the runner. Greg Dobbs can't get off too far, but he also wants to get off far enough if the ball drops for a base hit.
Randy Choate is up. So Hanley Ramirez, a 1-for-4 ball game. The Met outfielders are playing as deep as you can play in just about any ballpark, and this is as big a park as you'll find outside of Coors Field.
However, they do know no matter how deep you play, you can't stop a Stanton ball from getting through. Hanley would love to find one of those gaps.
1-0. Obviously, for Dobbs, contact, and he's motoring. Acosta. 1-0 pitch. And he gets a strike. The Marlins have tied it after the Mets scored twice against Heath Bell. Emilio Bonifacio opened the inning with a triple. John Buck walked. Terry Collins had to yank his closer, Frank Francisco. Acosta here. The 1-1. Big swing by Hanley Ramirez, and quite honestly, that's been an issue for Hanley this year.
Notice how, as we've seen all year, pitchers busting Hanley in with hard stuff. This has become the year of not the closer. A lot of closers injured. A lot of closers in baseball have not been successful.
The 1-2. Hanley fouls it back. At the start of the season, I read a terrific article by Tom Verducci about how the modern closer is used, and possibly now may be the time to rethink that. And a lot of managers are having to rethink that, not out of design, but out of necessity.
Out of necessity.
Well, it's Acosta who's on the mound, and he's trying to get it to the 10th. 1-2 to Hanley. Out. Now Acosta walked off the mound like he had the strike. Remember, Francisco in a screaming match with the home plate umpire Todd Titchener.
Number 5 clearly off.
Terry Collins had to separate Francisco from Titchener.
Acosta did have 4 saves last year for the Mets, so a little experience in that role.
Dobbs at first. He's delivered another RBI pinch hit. Hanley left field, but pulled foul. And the count is 2-2. As Tommy Hutton pointed out, there's a look at Hanley's mother, Isabel Smith, on Mother's Day here in Miami. Despite his struggles, batting average, on base percentage, Hanley Ramirez still has 6 homers, and he's driven in 22 runs. Acosta ready. And it's 2-2. It's in, and Hanley, that's a pitch that he went after early in the at-bat.
And this is a bonus, because now 3-2 with 2 outs. Greg Dobbs gets a little head start at first base, and they won't be holding him on the 3-2 pitch.
And Mom watches. The Mets outfield extremely deep in a big ballpark. 4-4, bottom 9, 2 outs. Ramirez calls timeout and steps out. Acosta ready. Dobbs on the move. Here's the 3-2. It's in the dirt.
I think in that case, you never want to put the potential winning run in scoring position. But Acosta was trying to make a perfect pitch. Looked like he missed with a breaking ball. In the back of his mind, he'd probably rather go after Kearns than make that pitch to Hanley Ramirez.
Here is Austin Kearns, who got the start against the lefty John Neese way back when this thing started, and Neese was outstanding. 6 shutout innings. But the Mets pen coughed up 2 runs in the 7th and has given up the 2-run lead here in the 9th. Kearns way out in front, off-speed pitch. And it's 0-1. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. The winning run is standing on second base. That's Greg Dobbs. Hanley is at first. Outfield obviously not as deep. They've got to be in a spot where they can throw Dobbs out on a base hit. And that pitch hits Kearns. They are loaded up for Stanton. Terry Collins has done just about all he can. It looked like Acosta slipped on that delivery.
Well, fastball that just totally, it took his shirt out, untucked Austin Kearns with that fastball. Here is a situation. Now, Acosta does not throw as hard as Cashner, but remember the at-bat that Giancarlo had in San Diego against a guy throwing 100 miles an hour, who eventually drew the walk with the bases loaded and got the RBI. He has to have that kind of patience here.
Stanton against Acosta. Bags loaded, 2 outs, tie game, 9th inning. drive to left and deep. Get out of here! Grand slam! Ball game! Walk off! Happy Mother's Day!
Light that baby up!
In a brand new park, the Marlins already have their 5th walk-off win. Miami has won 10 of their last 12. Giancarlo Stanton with a mammoth, and I mean mammoth, grand slam to end it.
Two things go along with this. They talked about being patient in the at-bat, but we also earlier talked about the aggressiveness of Giancarlo when he gets locked in. He has been locked in. For Stanton, that was his 3rd hit of the day, jumping on the first pitch, and there was never, ever a doubt as to where it was going.
My goodness.
One more look. Fastball, middle of the plate. He knew it.
Watch where this ball hits on Jeff Conine's Stairway to Heaven out there by the home run sculpture. You can see the Marlins were in motion when that thing landed. Let's go down to Craig Minervini. All right, we'll get back to Craig when we fix that microphone. Stan apparently knocked the microphone out with that home run as well. The grand slam. What a wild game this was.
Wow.
The Mets, a 2-0 lead virtually the entire day. John Buck's homer tied it at 2. And then Heath Bell gives up 2 in the 9th. The Marlins inch their way closer, make it 4-3 on another clutch hit by Greg Dobbs.
They got 3 runs off Francisco and 3 off Acosta, the final 2 pitchers for the Mets.
And Terry Collins just didn't have any answers. He tried to close with Francisco and couldn't. He tried to close with Acosta. And Giancarlo Stanton knocking the ball out of here, opening the roof. And everybody, even Reyes with that sacrifice fly, who tied the game at 4. We will try to get Giancarlo on Marlins Live postgame.